CCM has concentrated a lot of effort around the question of young people in Connecticut, primarily through our Young People First report, which advocates for at-risk and disconnected youth, but also through the Municipal Career Center, where we try to instill the value of public service. For our part, CCM invites several current students and recent grads to be summer interns to gain hands-on experience in a sector that doesn't receive nearly as much attention as it should, municipal governance. We brought them together on the Municipal Voice, a sort of exit interview where we talk with them about their goals, plans, dreams, and what towns and cities can do to make staying in state more attractive. Join us now with CCM interns Felicia, Caitlin, and Zachary on the Municipal Voice. The Municipal Voice is the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities podcast in collaboration with WNHH LP 103.5 FM. I'm your host, Matt Ford. As always, be sure to give us a like and let us know what you're thinking in the comments. CCM's Municipal Voice podcast continues to present a key forum on important state local issues. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect the consensus views of CCM or a member of municipal leaders. All right, so we've got the interns here today, Felicia, Caitlin, and Zachary joining us. To start off, let's go in that order. Let's go alphabetical. Starting with Felicia, can you just give us a little introduction, who you are, maybe what you're studying, and where you're interning with CCM?
Hi, I'm Felicia Familaro. I'm a rising junior at Bryn Mawr College. It's a women's college right outside of Philadelphia. And I'm studying sociology and minoring in data science. And yeah, I'm the member services and research intern. And I wanted to intern at CCM because I was excited to learn about the opportunity to learn how policy decisions are made at the local level, and also interested in government and public service and just the CCM's focus on strengthening towns and cities.
So it kind of made sense for you.
Yeah, it really appealed to me, and it felt rooted in like real communities that, I live in every day.
Well, that definitely makes sense. I live in New Haven, and we used to have the Bryn Mawr Bookshop was a bookstore that all the proceeds would go to the college. It was a great little store.
Yes, I love it.
Caitlin, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm Caitlin Higgins. I will be a senior at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, and I'm double majoring in fine arts and environmental and sustainability studies. And I am interning for the communications and member relations department.
Yes, that's us.
And I couldn't remember the second half. And then I'm also helping out member services with some event stuff this year. And I, similar to Felicia, was also kind of interested in local government and policy, kind of specifically thinking about like sustainability and environmental policy. So I felt like this internship was a really good opportunity to kind of get a behind the scenes look at some of the stuff I'm like talking about and learning about in all of my classes I take.
Have you looked at CCM? Have you been looking at like the sustainable CT stuff we do?
Yes. Yeah, I was definitely looking into them even before I came here. And so it's been kind of great to see how it all comes together with different workshops and webinars and how Sustainable CT is involved with this organization.
Yeah. Zach, what about you?
So I just recently graduated from Roger Williams University in May with a degree in communication and media studies and two minors in marketing and Spanish. Hard to believe it will be the first fall I'm not going back to school. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But I applied for the communications intern position at CCM because I really like the opportunity getting to be able to continue working in journalism, writing for CTNC, social media management. I really enjoy working in all that.
Great. Why do you think internship is a valuable experience? You obviously all, applied, you went through the thing. Maybe you just wanted to get a job where you worked inside during the summer. I don't know. But, why do you think internships are important? Let's go reverse order. Let's start with Zach this time.
Yeah, so I actually wrote an article about the importance of internships for my school newspaper, the Hawks Herald. I like it because internships, they really put you ahead, especially if you're doing communications, media, and journalism. You have to join your school newspaper club, and you also have to leverage your internships experience to really make yourself stand out there, especially considering how competitive the job market is. You really want to take every step you can to set yourself apart from competition, show them why you're the best. But also, you get hands-on experience learning.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
Yeah, right. Caitlin?
Yeah, I definitely echo Zach with kind of just like that real world, like hands-on experience. And I also think it's a good time to kind of explore before you're actually out trying to find a full-time job to figure out what kind of setting or what kind of style you like to work in, and kind of work out some of those kinks before you're kind of a full-time employee
Get
somewhere.
get a little bit of a preview of a few things
Yes,
before you sign up, your life away or whatever.
exactly.
Alicia?
For me, I like the clarity that internships give me about like my interests and what I want to pursue in the
Hmm.
future. Like I think in college, I'm usually like analyzing bigger systems, but like an internship forced me to kind of ground my thinking in actual like places and processes in the workplace.
Hmm.
And it's also just been valuable to see how people work together across departments and how
Yeah.
communication plays a role. And it's also helping me like test my skills in writing and editing and noticing patterns, things
Yeah.
that I've been needing to translate outside of the classroom.
Things that have been theoretical in a lot of ways up to this point
Right,
are now putting them into practice and that
exactly.
sort of thing. Yeah. Now, speaking of that kind of stuff, have any of you had any experiences or learned anything that was unexpected? Has anything changed in your perspective? Like, have you changed your mind about maybe what you want to study?
I mean, I think that it's given me kind of a lot of clarity, because one of my majors is super creative, obviously, and then the
Hmm.
other is a little more analytical. So it's kind of given me clarity that it's possible to kind of work in a place that you're able to do both things.
Hmm.
So even though it's like this is kind of like an office job and isn't like an art job, obviously, there's still like a
Hmm.
lot of creativity that I'm able to do. And even
Yeah.
across all the departments at CCM, I'm able to see kind of how people are like putting their own ideas into things, and really
Hmm.
able to kind of like be creative.
Yeah. Michelangelo isn't getting an office job sitting there painting, but you could work in
Yes,
an environment like that and do graphic design and marketing
exactly.
and other creative endeavors, definitely. Bishop, is anything changed in your perspective?
Yeah, I think before this, I was really like convinced I was gonna go down like a straight like nonprofit, like direct community work, kind of like human rights focused
Hmm.
job. But I think now I think it is like CCM showed me there's room for people like who think creatively, who listen well, who care about systems and communities. But it's
Hmm.
also made me realize like I don't have to choose between that and also like writing and research and policy. And there are
Hmm.
roles like in municipal settings that blend all of these things. And I think it's kind of opened my eyes to what type of career I could have in the future and
Exactly.
like
That public service could be a way to help the community or whatever you would have
exactly,
done maybe through a nonprofit, you can also do through local government in some places.
exactly.
Yeah. Zach?
I mean, I guess what really changed for me is what you were just saying previously about like the public service roles. I find them very interesting, and maybe in the future I can leverage this experience to try and see what positions I can get in my town and just like directly help my community.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. And like reporting, so there's all sorts of different avenues for that. There's reports that obviously we do at here that someone has to write those reports and things like that. So adapting what your skills to an actual workplace is an important thing to learn. When you think about your future, one of you has graduated already, but first of all, are you all from Connecticut? And if so, do you plan on living here after you graduate?
Yes, I'm from Connecticut. I live in Clinton, but I went to school in New Haven,
Hmm.
since middle school. And I think that I'll definitely return to Connecticut for like a period of time. I don't know if I'll end up like settling here permanently,
Hmm.
but right now the plan is once I graduate this year to come back and probably look for a job in Connecticut for at least a few years.
Yeah. And when you say just for a few years, do you say that because you think you might want to live somewhere else for just an adventure, or do you see, are there limitations to staying in Connecticut for you, like career wise?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously, Connecticut is one of the more expensive states to live in. So I
Hmm.
think when it comes to that time where I want to like be living on my own, uh, it might not be super easy to find somewhere affordable that I like to live in Connecticut.
Hmm.
And then also I think I'd don't want to limit myself to necessarily staying where I grew up.
Yeah. Do you feel a pull to any other places? Like, when I was graduating college, it was like, oh, maybe I'll go to New York or Boston, like that sort of thing. Like,
Yeah. I'm kind of really interested in living in DC.
mhm.
Um, and then on the other side, kind of like Vermont, like Maine, like a rural lifestyle. So
If
kind of like
go the other way
opposites.
completely, yeah.
Yes. So maybe I'll end up doing both at some point, but that's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
So Zach, this is kind of reality for you at this point. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, for me personally, like my mom's whole side of family's in Connecticut and my dad's whole side in New York. So if I were to move to a different state, it'd have to be like in the New England area. But so far, Connecticut has a decent bit of opportunities for somebody in my field. They're just like mostly in New Haven, which is 20-minute commute for me. So I
Mhm.
see myself staying here for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I mean, we do have New Haven, we've got Stamford, and if you want, you can hop on the Metro North and be in Manhattan. So we're not, North Dakota, we're not in the middle of nowhere. That's certainly something to be kept in mind. Felicia?
I'm not sure about staying in Connecticut. I'm
Hmm.
I'm open to it. Like, I think if I were not in stores, I'm not
Mm.
very, I like Yukon is near, but that's about it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not really into the rural lifestyle. I
Hmm.
haven't found it very fulfilling. I grew up in a city like in Ohio, so
Hmm.
it was a really big shift to like live in a town with not a huge
Hmm.
population and with a lot of um, cows and things. And
Yeah.
it's been nice, but it's not kind of what I'm seeking in the future. And I've really like fallen in love with Philadelphia.
Hmm.
Um, I took a lot of classes there this year in the city, so it's been fun to like explore that. And I'm just like I want something busy with like a lot of community and
Hmm.
vibrancy.
I mean, for all of you, is that something when you're talking about where you want to live that you're thinking about? Like, is it not just the jobs, but is it like, is there entertainment? Is there music? Is there
Yes,
arts? And like, that's part
right.
of it.
Yeah, this is
Um,
like I've been having this conversation with people because a lot of people want to like just follow where the jobs are, but I don't know
mhm.
if that would be fulfilling enough for like I want to have a place where there's like lots of things to do. Um
you know, you've been around the summer and you've probably heard people talk that one of the things that they talk about in local government is how to keep young people in town and jobs and bleepity blah blah. And so it's like, what is it that's missing in some of these places? And it does seem to be sometimes the arts. Does transportation, like we talk about transportation oriented development, like does that play into it at all? Like is that something when you see a place that would be attractive to you if they had good public transport and things like that?
yes. I'm definitely like if I'm thinking about kind of all of the factors, it's like
Hmm.
affordability. I want somewhere that's walkable and also like that has good public transport. I think
Yeah.
that's important to me. I don't want to have to drive every single place that I go.
You agreeing too, Caitlin?
Yeah, I think especially going to school in a city like Pittsburgh, where I take like the bus to class every day,
Hmm.
um, it's like definitely dawned on me that like I kind of need to live somewhere where it's either like super walkable or has like good bus transport,
Hmm.
or somewhere like New York where there's the subways, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big way where you have more community too, because like you meet people just taking the bus like on your daily route,
Hmm.
and you're just exposed to more things that way.
Yeah.
You are listening to the Municipal Voice on WNHH 103.5 FM.
You're talking about being exposed and meeting people and that kind of stuff. When I look at, your guys' experience as interns right now and how it differs from like what my experiences were. Right now, I think are all three of you in the office?
I just me and
Okay.
Zach, I think.
Okay, me
I'm
there.
at home.
Okay, Felicia's at home, and
Yeah.
as am I. But so half of us aren't in the office right now, but half of you are, and largely by choice, I would say. 5 days a week, more or less, you guys are in there. And so obviously there's some sort of appeal to that physical thing, which for, 20 something years was my default setting. And so for me, I'm still like, ooh, working from home, but like I'm assuming, given your ages, that for some of you, COVID hit in like high school or even middle school.
High
Yeah,
school.
for me, that still
Yeah.
seems like a recent sort of thing.
Yeah.
But like that's the reality that you've at least gone through college, if not, part of high school for.
Hmm.
Um, and so does the physical office hold an appeal as a place to work, or is it just that you feel like you need to be exposed to it because that's still the reality in a lot of places, or is it something you want to do?
I personally really enjoy working in the office and
Hmm.
kind of enjoy like the camaraderie that comes with it. And just like seeing what other people from different departments are like working on, and
Hmm.
just being able to interact with more people. Whereas if when I'm working remotely, I'm kind of just working on my own stuff and then like
Hmm.
I'll get messages from other teams and stuff, but it's really not the same as being in person. And I think what you said about like I did online school for like a year and a half, 2 years in high school. So it's
Yeah.
like I've done my time sitting at home and like I don't know, I like being outside of my like comfortable like living space, kind of
Hmm.
be in work mode, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
I
Zach,
agree
what
with
about you?
Caitlin. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, no, go ahead,
sorry.
Felicia.
I'm just going. If I wasn't an hour away, I definitely would like be in the
Mm.
office most days of the week, if not all. I think I definitely enjoy my days in the office more. Like sometimes I like walk over to Caitlin's desk and see what she's doing, or I'm chatting with the other people like in the office, and that's really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Um, and like Caitlin said, like being home for school really sucked. So
Yeah.
I try not to mimic that as much as I can. But I do I do like staying home some days. Some days it's just,
Yeah.
I don't have the energy. So I'm
Yeah.
glad there's that option, but I
Yeah.
definitely
Like when you're looking at jobs, is that option being out there for some of them make you consider maybe places that are a little bit farther away
for
if
sure.
you only
I
have to go in there like a day or two a week or something like
exactly.
that?
If this wasn't a hybrid job opportunity, I don't know if I would have even considered it
Well,
because
because you're an hour away.
because I'm an hour away and that's expensive and time consuming
Yeah.
to spend gas money. So I think it definitely makes things easier when finding jobs. So
When you think about municipal politics, state politics, what kind of issues are important to you?
I mean, like I've met people that are more like well versed in this.
Hmm.
But for me, like this position has taught me a lot about like how the state budget, for example, could affect municipal politics, for
Hmm.
example. But in terms of like my own town, like Guilford, I mean, I haven't really been keeping up with it too much, really.
Hmm.
But this position has taught me more about like things on the state level. So there's that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot about like different sustainability initiatives,
Hmm.
like the movement towards like clean energy in different municipalities.
Hmm.
And then also with like my older siblings being at the age where they have like moved out and are like trying to find like buy their first houses. I think a lot about like
Hmm.
affordable housing, um, and also like public school like funding, public education, stuff like that.
Yeah.
for
Felicia?
me, I've been thinking a lot about the cost of living and housing availability, especially because
Mm.
it's tougher for like young people just starting out.
Yeah.
Depending on your field, it can be hard to like easily find career opportunities that pay enough to live independently. Like I know there's a lot of talent in the state, but I don't know if like the opportunities match the demand sometimes. So I guess
Hmm.
I've been thinking a lot about that. And then especially in my local government, I've been thinking a lot about public education. Like my sister still is in high school. So like last week I went to a town hall caucus.
Hmm.
So that was and it was cool to go there and like have an understanding of
And
like
was that the first time you'd done that?
yes, actually. So it was great to kind of apply what I've been learning here to like how my town government is working, or just like having conversations with people in my town about like the
Hmm.
property tax. Because
Yeah.
I did a long report on the property tax and like I saw people protesting on the side of the road to like say no to the property tax. So
Hmm.
it's just kind of great to have that context now.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've been thinking a lot about public education, like what Caitlin was saying. And I live basically on UConn's campus. I'm like a 3-minute walk. So I've been thinking a lot about state funding for that and just those
I know
types
one
of
thing we talk about at CCM and like we try to push is that that sometimes in town government they have a hard time, especially with like volunteer positions and stuff, but even with paid positions, filling them and finding people that are interested in going into this. Would you say that prior to being a CCM and just, your cohorts in general, that you don't necessarily think about or know a lot about local government? Like it's just not something that's on top of mind?
I would definitely agree with that. I think a lot of times, like in my classes at least, when we're talking about like different policies and things, we're only talking about stuff that's happening at the federal level.
Hmm.
So we're not really like considering the impacts of local government as much.
Hmm.
So I think before I took this job, I hadn't really considered a lot about local government. And now
Yeah.
I'm definitely, it's like front of mind for me.
Yeah. I mean, part of that I'm sure is, one of the issues we focus on is like property taxes and things like that. And you guys don't own homes.
Mhm.
It's not. Um, and another thing about Connecticut when you're thinking about it is, will you ever be able to afford a home? I
Cross
think
my
all three of you
fingers.
mentioned was cost of living when you're talking about where you're going to go. What do you see as some of the obstacles to starting a career in Connecticut? Start with Felicia.
um I think there's some tension between like how much Connecticut expects of young people and how there's not as much structural support that is
Hmm.
offered in return. So like housing's not housings, housing and job security are big
Hmm.
concerns for me, like especially for someone in a field like policy or like sociology or public
Hmm.
service where like sectors I'm interested in where entry
Hmm.
level roles aren't always paying super well. And there's also like worry about AI and the economy in
Hmm.
general. And so it feels like our generation, or I don't know, people in general are being asked to be super adaptable without always being given the tools or
Hmm.
mentorship we need to be successful.
Now, is that an obstacle in Connecticut, or is that
Yeah.
just an obstacle in general? Do you
Yeah,
think
I would
are there
say
places that handle it better, other states or even other countries that when you think Connecticut's not doing the great job, that you think maybe there are places that are doing at least better?
I mean there are more like affordable states with
Hmm.
like lower proper. I think our tax system is interesting, I guess. But like the way we structure the property tax and where people are being taxed kind of
Hmm.
makes things more difficult. But I
Yeah,
guess I have,
we often criticize it as being a regressive tax at
yes,
CCM. Yeah.
yes. And I don't know exactly where I would be going for the solution of that. I guess I
Hmm.
haven't that far. And I guess more of my problems are a general problem with
Society.
US or society.
Hmm.
So I can't
But not
feel
necessarily something that we could, at CCM be like talking to our legislators and our governor about change this rule or
yeah.
do this thing. Yeah. I mean, but there are big concerns in the world and someone needs to think about those too. Caitlin?
Yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of what Felicia said, especially just like the affordability of Connecticut, I think is a barrier. Like, if I want to stay here long term, um, I will have to move out eventually. And so just like finding a place to live with like, I'm not going to school to be an engineer, so I won't be getting an engineer's like salary, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, just thinking about that, kind of what Felicia was saying.
Zach?
Yeah, I basically have to agree with what they both said. It's kind of hard because like when lots of people come out of college, they'll expect like a big salary, but you have to do those entry level positions first, work up towards that big salary, and then but once you get those entry level positions, you don't really get enough to really warrant living on your own, I guess, or just kind of
Yeah.
like supporting yourself, especially if you have to take out like student loans or rent, things like
Mm-hmm.
that, car payment. So it's kind of rough, but that's felt all across the country or the world
Okay.
right now.
So last question before I let you guys go back to doing all the other work we make you do. Um, if I could wave a magic wand and you go and you get your perfect dream job, what would you want to do?
That's really hard. I think it would be, God, can we come back to me?
See, I always wanted to host a late night talk show like David Letterman or something. So didn't get to do that. I just host a podcast with interns. So yeah.
Recent opening.
Now you
Yeah,
have dreams? You don't have your dream job?
I guess like if I could, I'd want to be like a full-time painter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's kind of would be the dream job, but obviously it's very difficult to actually uh
Make it happen.
do that.
I mean,
Yeah,
definitely,
do
yeah.
that full time. Yeah.
But
I
that's a good one,
think
Alicia.
like when I was a kid, I really wanted to like go into acting. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that whole world, like I've always been interested in. I do like theater at my school, so it's more of like a side hobby. But
Mm-hmm.
in the perfect world, that would have been a fun, like what you were saying about a talk show. Like I always sit in my room and like think about if I was being interviewed on a talk show or like things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
I mean, I
But
think it's interesting that both of you have both said your actual dream jobs are to do something creative for a living.
yeah, but
Do you
I
think that, like in this country, that we don't value the arts and creative stuff enough?
Yes. And I also
You know,
think
that
that,
we should be able maybe to think about, like, without chuckling about it, the idea of earning a living at the arts. Yeah.
I I
yeah,
I think it's really sad. Like, I understand the value of like going to college and getting a degree in something that you can make a lot of money in, but I do
Hmm.
think it's sad that like we've kind of taken our focus away from like the love of learning or like creativity and things like that. Like, I think a lot of people come in to college with something that they're like actually really interested in, but like don't know if they could afford to live on or like
Hmm.
find a career with it, which I think is unfortunate. Like I think especially I talked to a lot of like international students at my school who was like parents are sending them to college in the US and they're like you
Hmm.
have to do computer science. That's the only place where you can get a job or you have to do engineering or you have to
Hmm.
become a doctor. And like obviously we need these people in society, but um I think
We
there
need
is
artists
definitely
too. Yeah.
a push for like I wish the arts was more valued and creative fields were more valued so that people could, those are important aspects of society and we can't all be
Yeah.
computer scientists and we can't all be doctors and we can't all be in STEM fields or things like
Yeah.
that. So
What
I
about you,
wish
Zach? What's your dream? You got one?
It's hard to have a dream in this economy, but I guess what I would say is maybe like, I mean, after this experience, I really enjoyed writing for CTNC. Maybe become some sort of like independent journalist. I kind of like the idea of that. I
Write for a
think,
living. Yeah.
yeah, I do enjoy writing. It's a lot of fun. I've always been pretty good at it, even before ChatGPT.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. But prior to CCM, I worked in the newspaper industry for many years, on magazines, and that's how like we do CT&C. That sort of translated, went down that path. But when I was first starting, I was working at the Litchfield County Times and stuff, doing newspapers and the whole thing, and stop the presses and all that kind of stuff. Um, well, thanks for taking the time to talk with me today. Not that you had a choice, but um, thank you guys for all your hard work you've done with us all summer, and thanks for doing this show. And good luck with your schooling, careers, et cetera, et cetera.
thank you for
thank
having
you so
us.
Thank you
much.
very much.
The Municipal Voice is a co-production by CCM and WNHH 103.5 FM. Joe Thornton is our executive producer. Christopher Gilson is our producer. Harry Draws on the boards, and I'm Matt Ford, your host. Be sure to check out our Facebook page and give us a like, and watch out for our CCM chat series on our YouTube page.